Hello friends, looking at current affairs for 9th May, the news items picked up from the Hindu newspaper are these 19. We'll look at them in detail. The first one, Karnan orders 5-year rigorous imprisonment for CJI, 7 other Supreme Court judges. So this is regarding the Kolkata High Court Judge, Justice C.S. Karnan, against whom contempt of court proceedings have been initiated by the Supreme Court for him putting allegations against the judiciary regarding corruption. So he is being prosecuted by the Supreme Court. On the other hand, he himself is passing orders sentencing this constitutional bench judge members, including the Chief Justice of India. He has ordered 5 years rigorous imprisonment and fine of 1 lakh each on them for committing offences under Scheduled Caste and Scheduled Tribes Prevention of Atrocities Act. So he belongs to the Scheduled Caste, and he says that he's been targeted because of him being an SC. So such allegations are also being raised by him, and he is alleging that there is allegation against him that he is degrading the judiciary. The Supreme Court, we had seen earlier, they have already ordered that the judgments passed by him should not be put into effect. He is not allowed to pass judgments till he sits in hearings, and now this order as such of rigorous imprisonment has been initiated by him. Next is High Court verdict favoring Lalu set aside. So this is regarding the 900 crore fodder scam which had come out in the open. So this is a conspiracy which went on from 1988 to 1996, and various offences have been committed by these ministers, including Lalu Prasad Yadav and other ministers involved here. So they were done by different persons at different types in different places. But the High Court, the Jharkhand High Court, which was hearing this matter in 2014, it passed its decision that the charges against Mr. Lalu Prasad Yadav and Mr. Mishra, the former state chief secretary here, he was the chief minister of Bihar then. So these charges should be dropped, because they said that person cannot be found guilty on the same offence twice. So they have already been prosecuted. So now again prosecution should not take place. But the Supreme Court has set aside that order now, because it says Jharkhand High Court's argument was flawed, because it is not the same offence. It was in the same category that they had done these offences under the fodder scam, but there were different actions done, illegal activities done at different times. So each is an independent case. You cannot club them and drop charges as such. So this Supreme Court has set aside that order. It has also asked the CBI, and actually spoken that CBI had delayed in appeal. So it had to quicken the appeal process, but CBI had delayed it. So it has also indicated CBI that such delays should not take place in the future. So here you can see this is the whole case. So the sentencing which was done, which was provided to Mr. Lalu Prasad Yadav, he was sentenced to 5 years rigorous imprisonment in one particular case for the period 94-95, and other charges were dropped against him. So these have been revived now, and earlier he has already been sentenced as such too, and he had been disqualified from parliament to barred from elections for 11 years because of this conviction. So these are the people involved, the details given. And the second thing that CBI is pulled up by the Supreme Court for delay in filing appeals. So CBI delayed filing appeals against the Jharkhand High Court's order in the Supreme Court. So this should not take place. It's the responsibility of the CBI director, and from now on Supreme Court would hold the CBI director responsible. There should not be any delay in filing appeals. If it happens, then the Supreme Court would assume that this is purposely done. So this is by intention. So that is the CBI manual. Also Supreme Court has said mandates that there should be expeditious filing of appeals. Then next is Varsity applies grandma's wisdom for safe drinking water needs. So this is regarding Tamras. This is a low-cost copper-based device which has been developed by Transdisciplinary University of Bengaluru. So this uses age-old knowledge that water was earlier stored in copper vessels. So this makes many pathogens ineffective. So that's what has been done. An experiment was done, and it was found that when water is stored overnight at room temperature in copper vessels, then E. coli, Salmonella and other bacteria, they become non-recoverable. So that is the basis on which this Tamras has been developed, a low-cost copper-based water purification device, and it would be spent as such, it would be proliferated in the region through self-help groups. So these would be established, and people can become entrepreneurs for this product. Next is Odisha village swears by Gram Swaraj. So this is Tumoni village in Odisha's Angul district. So here for decades they are practicing the principle of self-rule. So there is a 19-member management committee which looks into all the matters. If any such case which comes up is resolved by this committee. But for serious offenses like rape, murder, the police and the judiciary's help is taken. So then the judiciary is involved. Otherwise, they function on their own. They have also taken steps to conserve the ecologically sensitive reserved forests here. Mandagiri reserve forests are located nearby. So these steps have also been taken. They also have this canal water used for irrigation. So that is also judiciously distributed amongst the population. Also, then there is a village fund which has come now to be comprising of for 20 lakh rupees, and this is used to disperse loans. And also those who receive loans from this fund, they have been paying regularly. There have been no defaults as such to so far. So this is the model village here in Odisha called Tumuni village. So this is also been stated by NGOs to be a model village as conceptualized by Mahatma Gandhi. So this Swaraj as such as should be from the villages, self-rule in the villages. So this is the true spirit of Gram Swaraj seen in this village. Then the next news item is army men favor political intervention in Kashmir. So we are seeing the Kashmir situation. It's getting out of hand. So even the armed forces here feel that there is political intervention required if the level of violence has to go down. Because now it is seen that even the friendliest villagers, they are not telling anything and giving details to the army. Even school students are now seen to be involved in stone throwing and protest against the security forces. So now political intervention is being highlighted even by the army men. Next is act tough against Maoists, state told. So the Home Minister Rajnath Singh had a meeting with the left-wing extremist affected states, and it has asked them to take the ownership and lead the operations against Maoists. So steps need to be taken here, but the state governments have said that without the central assistance, if states themselves have to take action, then what is the need for such a meeting and such statements coming forth too? So there have been several states demanding that the discontinuation of central schemes which were beneficial for tackling Maoism here, like special infrastructure scheme, integrated action plan, they have been discontinued. Central assistance have been discontinued. So they are highlighting these concerns also. The Home Minister has also stated that there is a need for shadow intelligence officers to track prominent targets associated with left-wing extremism. So what areas are they targeting? There should be intelligence available to the officials too. So this has been highlighted. Also another aspect is that the armed forces personnel who are stationed in these Maoist affected regions, they have to learn and respect the local customs and traditions of the tribals who stay here. So this is also one statement which Home Minister Rajnath Singh made in this meeting. So the two schemes for which central assistance has now stopped is special infrastructure scheme. So this is to develop the critical infrastructure to fill the critical infrastructure gap for security forces. So all the weaponry equipments which are required for them should be provided. So this was a scheme initiated in 2008-9, but then central assistance was discontinued from 2015-16. Says on the recommendation of 14th Finance Commission. So this was one scheme. Second scheme is integrated action plan. So this was additional central assistance for left-wing extremism affected districts, but this has also been discontinued from 2015-16. The central assistance is discontinued. So this integrated action plan provided for public infrastructure and services related to education, health, etc. in these tribal and backward districts. So 60 districts were selected, further extended to 82. But from 2015-16, in both the schemes, central assistance has been discontinued. Then next is power rankings. So this is the information coming from Union Ministry of Power. So this is showing the details of the DISCOMs, distribution companies. So these are state-owned distribution companies, power distribution companies. So how are they functioning? The operational and financial performance is ranked and indicated here. So you can see the grading given. The darker the color, it is better the performance. So A+, A. So you can see Gujarat, Uttarakhand are doing well. So this is shown here. Then next is India to reopen API office in China after 3 years. So API, it stands for active pharmaceutical ingredients. So these are the important ingredients. These are the raw materials which are used for manufacturing drugs, pharmaceutical drugs. So India is called the pharmacy to the world because of the generic medicines which are manufactured in India and supplied to various countries, especially the third world countries too. So what is happening now is that the API, active pharmaceutical ingredients, are also sourced from China. So much of this import comes from China. So there was this permanent audit office in China established by Indian government to conduct quality inspections of these APIs. But this was stopped, closed 3 years ago, but now it has been revived. So this reopening has taken place. So this is regarding the active pharmaceutical ingredients, details given here about how they are important. They have the active part of a drug, and how in China, which is a major competitor for India in the Asian market, it is supplying this low cost off patent molecules and low-end intermediaries to various countries. The next news item is push for private sector in defense production. So the government has now accelerated the process to finalize the strategic partnership model, which it is planning, which will give a boost to the defense procurement procedure too. So defense procurement procedure policy had come forth in 2016, and strategic partnership model is a part of it. So what this will provide for is that Indian private sector can have a tie-up with global OEMs, original equipment manufacturers, in critical military systems and platforms. So such strategic partnerships of private sector will be possible, and of course the final approval will be given by the Defense Acquisition Council. So details of this will come out soon. Then next is China offers to rename OBOR to allay India's fears. So India is not participating in the Belt and Road Forum, which has been conducted by China in mid of May 2017 in Beijing. So to bring India on board, China is saying that we are ready to even rename CPEC if that is the concern, because this passes through POK. So this can be renamed too if India wishes so to. So China is coming forth now seeking India's participation. So there are 60 countries who are participating in this Belt and Road Initiative. All SAARC members excluding India are part of this. So now efforts are being made to bring India on board as well. So a 4-point solution to manage differences as such were also indicated by the Chinese ambassador. It says that a new treaty on cooperation can be finalized, talks on free trade agreement can be restarted, an early resolution of border issue is another concern. So this can be addressed, and also Belt and Road Initiative can be aligned with India's Act East policy. So we'll see now what would be India's response, if any, to this offer as well. So this you can see 60 Nation Infrastructure Initiative proposed in China in 2013. Then next is 2000 strong Cobra force for Sukma. So Sukma district in Chhattisgarh, where we saw an attack on the CRPF personnel. So now a Cobra force has also been stationed here. So this Cobra stands for Commando Battalion for Resolute Action. So 2000 commandos from this Cobra, which is one of the most successful and experienced law enforcement units of Indian forces. So this would be brought in here in Sukma to tackle the Maoists. So this is a specialized unit of CRPF itself. It is specializing in guerrilla tactics and jungle warfare. It was established to tackle the Naxalite problem only. Then next is India can play great role in peace efforts. So this is Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas. He'll be visiting India on 13th May. He'll be arriving in India. So he'll hold talks with Prime Minister Narendra Modi to strengthen the ties between the two nations. So what has been highlighted is that the Palestinian issue has again arose, because even we saw Hamas came with its new document as such to ceding its demand that Israel should be eliminated, accepting Israel's existence, and indirectly accepting the two-state solution for Israel-Palestinian conflict. And also President of USA, Mr. Donald Trump, has also stated that he would be visiting Israel and Palestine in May 22-23, you can see. So this is also there. Plus Mahmoud Abbas would be visiting Russia. He has visited Russian President Vladimir Putin, and after that he has also met with US President Donald Trump, and now he's arriving in India to meet Prime Minister Narendra Modi. So he's saying that since India and Israel are having good relations, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, he is also planning to visit Israel in July. So though he would not be visiting Palestine, but Palestinian President here, Mr. Mahmoud Abbas, says that India can also take the things forward and assert and take initiatives for finding the implementation of two-state solution with Israel. So that is also there. So once the meeting takes place, there will be any bilateral talks and MOUs which would be signed. We'll discuss that also between India and Palestine. So this is the Palestinian region. Israel is is occupying this region. So this is the Gaza Strip here and the West Bank region. So Gaza Strip controlled by Hamas and West Bank region controlled by Palestinian Authority. Mahmoud Abbas leads this. So what is happening is that Israel is having settlements here in this region as well. So you can see this region is also been, taken over as such because of Jewish settlements here. So this is also a concern which the Palestinian Authority raises. Then next is center to tap MGNREGA funds to make Saraswati low again. So that is flow again. So center is now deciding to use MGNREGS, Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme funding. So 48,000 crore is provided for this. So this scheme is basically for constructive work to be done. So such employment can be provided to the rural population under this scheme. So guaranteed employment is provided plus constructive work can also be done. So these constructive projects which are picked up. So now the Union Water Resource Ministry wants that the paleo channels which have been detected by this committee. So what is a paleo channel, you should know. So these are old reverse channels. So now they are filled up, dried up and filled with sediments. So here you can see this is the paleo channel shown. So such paleo channels have been detected, and there was this committee which was commissioned comprising of hydrologists, geologists and archaeologists. It was led by Mr. K.S. Waldia. So this was a commission set up by Water Resource Ministry, and it has given its report showing that there is evidence on the course of Saraswati River, which is the sacred river mentioned in Rig Veda 2 and Hindu mythology, and presently it is no longer flowing. So the west and the east branches of this Saraswati River have been concluded by this committee also to be Satluj River, which is said to be the western branch of Saraswati, and these Markanda and Saraswati rivers, which are called Ton Yamuna rivers, the eastern branch of this river, which exists presently. So the committee has been tasked with scouting these paleo channels across the country for rivers too, and these paleo channels can be, they are soft sediments, so they can be removed and the river flow can be revived again too. So these steps are being taken under MGNREGS is being planned. So percolation tanks, ponds are also developed under MGNREGS so that groundwater recharge can also take place. Then the next news item is after decisive win, Macron to take over on Sunday. So this is regarding French presidential elections. Emmanuel Macron has been elected as the French president. He is the youngest ever French president at the age of 39. So he is a centrist. So the far right has lost and he has won. So this is a good step which has been taken, actually seeing the kind of results which we have seen, shocking results in elections like the Brexit. In USA also President Donald Trump been elected, but here a centrist has won now. So his party was also founded just last year and he has won these elections. He was part of the administration under the outgoing president, but then he has no other experience as such, administrative experience as such. Then the next news item is Ports Authority concerned over Hambantota. So this is regarding the Hambantota port which China has developed in Sri Lanka. And the Sri Lankan Port Authority is now having concerns over the proposed deals to sell this deep sea port in Hambantota to Chinese company. So this is being negotiated presently and the concerns have been raised. Earlier two concerns were raised by the Port Authority. They have been complied, but still there are concerns remaining. So it says that the proposed deal gives sweeping powers to the Chinese company to handle operations near the port. So this is the case. You can see here the framework agreement was signed with the Sri Lankan government by this Chinese company in December 2016. So here it says that this Chinese holding, Merchants Port Holding, this is a Chinese private company. This will pay $1.12 billion for a 99-year lease on 80% stake in the Hambantota port. So this deal is to be finalized. So this port was also built with Chinese assistance. Chinese loans were provided in 2010 and this port was built, Hambantota port. So Sri Lankan government now also owes $8 billion in debt to China. So this is also a concern. Even the present government, which has come to power in 2015, is also talking of renegotiations and aiming to reduce this burden of debt also. So Chinese investments in various countries, even in Africa, have raised concerns that then the countries themselves also suffer in terms of sovereignty and this huge amount of debt which they have then. So here this is the concern raised. Also another point which is there is that an industrial zone would be developed near the Hambantota port. So this is 15,000 acre industrial zone, and now Beijing is saying that the port deal would be signed only if this industrial zone is also made available to it. So such conditions are also been put, and the industrial zone development is being protested against by the locals here in Sri Lanka. So this is the case here. So this is the Hambantota port here, and Trincomalee port you can see is here, in with which India is having negotiations on various aspects here, developments in this region with Sri Lanka. And this is Colombo, the port too and the capital of Sri Lanka. The next news item is Center to raise with US non-tariff barriers. So India and USA will have their next India-US Trade Policy Forum meeting, and in this various concerns of India would be raised with USA. So with India-USA trade relations, we have seen that India has a trade surplus with USA. So here we are having concerns also because restrictions are placed by US on Indian trade. So here you can see there are non-tariff barriers. So tariff barriers are in terms of import duties, etc., which are put on commodities. So those are tariff barriers. So higher import duties put by USA on Indian commodities will make Indian goods costly, and then their competitiveness would be affected in US market. So those are tariff barriers. Non-tariff barriers are not changing the prices and imposing duties and additional charges, but other restrictions being imposed. So these restrictions, the terminology used also is also sanitary and phytosanitary barriers. So what do these imply? Are that sanitation with respect to, so there are concerns raised about there being pesticides, for example, being present in various food commodities like Indian basmati rice also. So that's why their imports are restricted in USA. Even with mangoes, etc., such concerns are raised. Other aspects on which trade is restricted is like child labor is involved in the manufacturing of these commodities, and on the basis of that, those products imports are restricted in USA. So even Indian authority is saying that these restrictions are based on the reports which are there provided to this Department of Labor of USA, but then they are not always accurate and reliable. Still they are being adhered to, and on the basis of that restrictions are placed. So this is what India is going to put forth at this trade forum meeting with USA. So one aspect is also child labor. Then Buy America norms are there in various aspects. So those also restrict imports from India. And another aspect is that national security ground can generally be used for curbing imports from third nations by American manufacturers. So this is also being used without providing proof that why it is a national security concern. So all these concerns are there of India. Also with respect to pharmaceuticals, the fees as such have been raised for pharmaceutical companies. So it's a time consuming, costly certification process which they have to go through in various cases, especially with respect to agricultural commodities. So this is also there. Traditional medicine system, Ayurveda and other are not allowed to be accepted in USA because there are no clinical trials done, and Siddha Unani are completely banned in USA. So these medicines can also not go ahead and find a market in USA. So all these are the concerns. One more thing is about countervailing duties. So countervailing duties are imposed by US on various Indian exports like steel and paper industry. So these countervailing duties are imposed to raise the cost with the prices of such commodities which are imported, because it is felt that this would adversely affect the domestic market. So domestic steel manufacturers in USA would be affected. So a countervailing duty is imposed on these imports to bring it to on par. So when the prices of these imports are exceeding low, so Indian steel and paper industries also suffer, exporters suffer here. Then the next news item is government WIPO to set up tech centers. So this is regarding World Intellectual Property Organization. So Department of Industrial Policy and Promotion of India and WIPO are going to have an agreement finalized to set up. They have finalized this agreement to set up technology and innovation support centers. So these centers are established by WIPO. So they will facilitate intellectual property rights, promoting them, protecting them, managing them for locally based, high quality technology which is developed by these local organizations. So this is the step taken now. So WIPO is a specialized agency of United Nations. It was established in 1967, has 189 member states as such. So these are various specialized agencies of UN also listed down here, which you should know about. So as they come up in news, we'll be discussing many of them. So you would come to know. Presently, what we discuss is WIPO, World Intellectual Property Organization. And the last news item is Chinnar Wildlife Sanctuary hitches wagon to star tortoises. So this is Chinnar Wildlife Sanctuary in Kerala. So here the rehabilitation of Indian star tortoises have taken place. So those seized from smugglers have been rehabilitated, and it has been a major success, as so much that this has become the star wildlife creature as such of Chinnar Wildlife Sanctuary of Kerala. So these are various wildlife sanctuaries of Kerala also shown here. Chinnar is down here near Periyar. Then one more news item is wooden filter removes toxins from water. So these engineers have used this linden wood. So wood is generally used to even having these nanostructures. So these nanostructures in wood, when water flows through them, the pollutants are removed. So this is the channel through which even water and nutrients from the roots reach the plants. So that channel is being used, and these dyes which are present in water can be removed, and water, treated water, clear water can be obtained. So this has been done through an experiment successfully by these engineers from US to purify water. So water treatment using wood has been done. So these are the news items. Thank you.